DC13 Silent Night. Soul-touching and life-enhancing stories. Silent Night. A Christmas story. It was quiet, very quiet inside Christmas Village, located at the amazing North Pole star. There was no motion except for the soft falling snowflakes and the ever-streaming crystal river which ran down through the middle of the valley. The mesmerizing valley was surrounded by an enchanting forest, full with decorated Christmas trees, and the gingerbread homes and magical-looking village that stood there since ages felt deserted, and none of the assembly lines inside the toy factories were in motion. None of the lovable elves were moving about, for they were waiting for Santa to return and waiting for the production orders to come. While patiently waiting, all the elves had been sitting down at the bank of this significant river called the Silent River. It was because of the magic power of this life-giving and life-sustaining river that all of them had gone in a state of dream, whilst listening with their inner ears to the eternal and audible sound of silence. It was this unique and luminous river that came down from Peace Mountain, located even more up north, and which, after leaving the valley, divided itself into uncountable invisible streams, all connecting with the worlds down below. And it was inside all of these fundamental invisible streams that Santa traveled down in his sleigh, and could be visiting every home, or could even visiting many places at the same time, for that matter of fact. This was the network of roads he traveled on to any planet in the universe. This year there had been no request for Christmas presents from the Earthlings. No letters had been found by the elves in any of the stockings, because there had been none of them hanging at the fireplaces. Santa, after his inspection ride, had put any production on hold. Without any delay, he had gone up north, traveling inside the Silent River in his sleigh to Peace Mountain, to meditate regarding the situation. Riding through the secular sky in his sleigh pulled by the reindeer, he had witnessed what the cause was for this strange situation, which also seemed to be creating another problem, because he and the elves apparently had lost their job. Santa, knowing that all humans were actually pure elves in disguise, without them knowing this, had come to the conclusion that in addition to not remembering who they were, that they really had completely lost it. Not only had they lost their true identity and longing to find out who they really were and where they really came from, they had separated themselves more than ever before. In addition, he had not seen any preparations for Christmas or any Christmas trees. The feeling of Christmas had been completely absent. Many strange things had happened through history, but the complete absence of the spirit of Christmas, that had never happened. The separation process, having left as celestial elves from the North Pole star, where they had been one big family, one big heavenly family, having gone through a transformation process and having obtained a human body and having lost contact with Santa through the Silent River, that had just been the beginning. The separation process continued by separating themselves from the tribes of which they had become part of, but it didn't stop there. They separated themselves from Mother Nature, erected villages and cities, and got involved in comparing and competing and separating themselves from each other, and now even living in separate rooms in one house. Lost and lonely as they were, they had tried to fill up this aching emptiness with food, staying busy with work, chasing worldly goals, drinking alcohol, watching movies, gambling, busy with the modern electronic devices and many other escapes that all created nothing more than addictions. Not being able to get rid of that mysterious deep longing inside of them, they were now obsessed with the ultimate toy that they thought to be the final solution to not feel separate anymore, but which was a trap. It was a replica of the trap that had happened already, by taking their temporary mind, body and surroundings for real, and having become slaves of the sense organs. Why looking for solutions on the outside in which everything was part of the ever-changing and mortal world? This toy, or better said device, named the Miracle Cam, was a combination of a multi-purpose hand-sized computer, a phone connected to the internet and Wi-Fi satellite, and a 360-degree recording camera. Typing was not required anymore, as this was possible through voice activation, and while speaking and thus recording and possibly visually talking to multiple persons at the same time, the camera was filming and capturing you and your environment. The advertisement promised that when having this toy that you are not alone anymore, that you are 24 hours connected to others, and while doing so, making your personal movie of life, which you also could share with others. Santa had observed that nobody was face-to-face communicating anymore with those around them because of the Miracle Cam. This was also the reason that nobody took the time anymore to think about Santa, the Christmas celebration, and the true meaning of it. They were 24/7 busy with their toy. It was a critical point in time in the history of the planet, and something needed to be done. The spirit of Christmas was about giving, and although it involved presents, it was more about being thankful for the gift of life itself. The thank you to all the great enlightened soul elves that had come before to assist humans to get out of bondage, so they could become elves again and to find their way back home to the North Pole Star. Christmas was about being together, giving a hand to each other, lending an ear, the sharing of a meal and sharing of magical and mystical stories, and giving away things one doesn't need or use anymore. That was the true spirit of Christmas, and Santa was meditating on how to get the spirit of true service back into their minds and hearts. How to let everybody understand that a trick was played on their mind by the sellers of the Miracle Cam, and how to make them realize that they were addicted to this device. Santa returned after some time with his sleigh and reindeer from Peace Mountain, and the elves at once woke up from their state of dream. All excited what Santa had to say, they gathered around him. "My dear elves, let me give you my instructions." The elves were eager to get back in the factories making toys, but had to hear, "We have to change the production lines, and we have to make a new kind of toy, and there is other work for you to do." What?" questioned many voices. "Where are Techna and Techno?" "Here we are, Santa," sounded both voices of the twins at the same time while stepping out of the crowd. "Come with me to the main treasure chamber. We need to talk, and you all just wait for them to get back. Okay?" "Okie dokie," answered all the voices of the elves in a chorus, and then Santa left with the twins. All the elves were very curious, but had to wait for further instructions a little longer. The morning before Christmas Eve, on all the miracle camps, at the same time, a text message appeared saying, "Look around you, look around you, look around you." So all individuals looked around, saw other people and the places they were in at that moment, but immediately started to be busy again with their miracle cam, trying to get back there where they had left some seconds ago, either dictating, talking to others, surfing on the net, receiving or sending out messages and recordings. No one was, however, successful to continue their such-called life on the miracle cam, and the only thing that came up on the screen, and then enhanced with a voice speaking these words over and over again: "Look around you, look around you, look around you." But nobody looked around. Everybody was desperately busy getting the miracle cam to work again. Everybody ran into stores in which they sold miracle cams, but nobody was able to help. It was happening everywhere on the entire planet, and with every miracle cam. "Somebody is hacking the system," was the rumor that went like a headline around the globe. But who is hacking, and why? When nobody was successful to get the miracle cam working again, they all looked for the old devices, computers, cellular phones, and go on. By the time they went online or tried to reach someone, the entire internet and Wi-Fi system coming from satellites stopped working, and a worldwide panic broke out because everybody was completely lost. Without any exception, everybody had to deal with the situation, and many didn't handle the situations very well, as anger and even violence surfaced. But before things got out of hand, it became brutally cold on the entire planet, and it started to snow, but so heavy that everybody had to go inside, finding ways to keep shelter and to keep warm. Without realizing, most people started to help each other, and a spirit of togetherness returned. The heavy snow continued the entire day, but slowly changed into warm snowflakes. It stopped to be cold, but nobody could go outside because there still was too much snow. Slowly but surely, people started to think about celebrating Christmas and making the necessary preparations. Christmas trees were set up together and food was in preparation. Old stereo systems and radios came out of the closets, and Christmas songs brought back many smiling faces. Everywhere people were talking with each other and making contact again. The spirit of Christmas had been found back just right in time, and at 12 midnight it discontinued snowing. And for 15 minutes everybody stopped talking, and without knowing why. They also switched off the music. They went outside and stared at the night sky, which was lit with more stars than ever before. Then, as if they remembered something they had forgotten, they all looked at the North Pole star and saw in the far distance Santa appearing in his sleigh, pulled by his reindeer. While he was coming closer, suddenly the innumerable streams coming from the North Pole star became visible, and the sound of silence entered their entire being. They witnessed countless sleighs pulled by reindeer with elves inside of them, and all using these streams as roads. Within seconds, they were all standing on the streets around them, inviting everybody who wanted to go with them for a ride. Everybody was mesmerized and caught by the sound of silence coming from these streams. It was so tranquil and peaceful, and all of them entered a state of dreaming. With the speed of light, they went for a visit to Christmas Village at the North Pole Star, reminding them that they were all elves, and that this was their true home. They were all happy to be one family again, because when they arrived at the North Pole Star, they all turned back into elves. As time doesn't exist at the North Pole Star, it felt as if they were spending days up there, and when they were brought back down to Earth, they all didn't know if it really happened. But at least a very important lost memory was present again. After the 15 minutes were over, there was no evidence of Santa, the elves, and the streams in the sky anymore, and everybody went inside their homes to prepare for bed. They all had enlightening visions and wondrous dreams, and on Christmas morning, like every day before, everybody went instantly back on their miracle cam. The device worked again, but everybody discovered a special application that had been installed during the night. It was a bright star that kept on flashing. The app was named Silent Night, and was for those who wanted to stay close to the memory of that night. It included a complete re-education program that could be used to keep the spirit of Christmas and all that was related to giving and sharing going in order to keep a balance in life. It gave everybody as well the possibility to keep a close look on how and when to use the modern inventions. At the Miracle Camp factories, they were very busy speeding up protecting their new invention that would not need electricity, internet, Wi-Fi or satellites, and trying to avoid any loss of control in the future. The managers were very upset with what had happened, and even more upset that they were unable to uninstall the application that had been installed without their permission. The owners, however, stayed calm, because they knew that most of their clients would fall back into the trap, and they were called the people weak consuming creatures of habit. Many seekers of the truth remembered that Christmas Eve as the silent night, and many different stories were written after. Santa and his elves had been able to save the spirit of Christmas, and at that Christmas night, Tekna and Techno, the twins, with a big smile on their face, had been sitting next to Santa Claus, Father Christmas, Kris Kringle, or better said, Saint Nicholas. The big giver had been experienced, at least for that moment. What the story could bring us. The story is about reminding ourselves that we are not human, limited and mortal, but a soul that is on a momentary adventure in the creation, equipped with a body and mind in order to experience this world. By identifying with the body, mind and the outside world and driven by our sense organs, we feel separated, lost, lonely and empty, and are trying to fill ourselves up with the things of this impermanent world, but who are all just short-lived and do not satisfy this hunger. After separating ourselves from our true self, we kept on separating ourselves in endless other ways, ending up in a modern world thinking that we have a communication device and that we are safe. We keep on trying, but at the end of the day we are still confronted with that something which is missing. Enlightened souls, teachers, masters and guides who have found out who they are and where they came from, gave their life in service to assist others to find this for themselves. And it is this act of unconditional giving, serving, and sharing which is the true spirit of Christmas, a reminder that we can give, share, and serve, and can find about the truth and saying to everything, thank you.